Thank you, Roger. Nice to see you again as well. Couple of questions for you. Based on your presentation, this brings up a good question here. Is there a difference in REG behavior using Johnson thermal noise in a resistor versus Schott tunneling noise from a reverse bias PN junction?
I wish I could answer that with great certainty, but I cannot. That experiment hasn't been done. The effects are so small that it requires a lot of data to determine whether there's an effect, and even more data to decide whether the one effect is bigger than another. So we don't know. The best guess is that it doesn't matter, because most of the indications that we have from research is that really the source of the randomness doesn't matter very much. The Pear Lab did a lot of work on that. Other people have too. And the general conclusion is, as long as there is a labile random process that the consciousness may interact with, we're good. That's all that's really needed.
Random number generator physics. Is the quantum mechanical antenna typically an avalanche source noise diode? So not necessarily thermal noise?
I'm not sure I know what a quantum mechanical antenna implies, but we do use most, I think, of the random number generators in use in this kind of research are, in fact, based on some kind of quantum tunneling process.
And is there an update on the GCP app?
There is no update that I'm aware of. It's not something that I designed or have been involved in. And the last I knew is the one app that was closest to being, ready to go. The creator became busy doing other kinds of things, maybe like making a living. It's not as easy as it sounds. It is possible to generate real random number generators. Real random numbers in a smartphone or similar device, but it's slow. It's just not very obvious how difficult it is to do that kind of thing.
And have you found any correlations to any of the Schulman frequencies?
No, I haven't myself looked at that. There are correlations that other people do. In particular, the Global Coherence Initiative looks at such things as all kinds of energetic fields, but Schumann frequency is definitely one of the things they look at. And while their question is not whether global consciousness events are correlated with that, they're looking at the kinds of thing they're most interested in, which is heart and brain correlations. Those kinds of things are correlated rather strongly with fields around the Earth, with including things like Schumann resonance.
And Roger, do you have a list of what kinds of sources the individual GCP stations use, or a way of sorting the data by source type?
There is a table on the GCP website that has that information. Let's see, I think it's, I'm not sure the exact thing, but if people go to the global-mind.org, there is a very good menu. And under that, in the, I think, second column from the right, there is a whole stack of items that are relevant. You can find the distribution and the type and the information about all the stations that we've ever had in the network.
I'm just going to repeat the website, global-mind.org, globe-mind.org. In the Google Media COVID search data versus conscious response of humanity, can you detect, or is your data able to reveal, if there is a tiny temporal lag between the appearance of negative media peaks and human consciousness reactions?
Wow, I have not myself looked at that exactly. Ulf Holmberg has been doing work that's very much related to that, and I think he finds that there is a lag. It's and it well, I shouldn't go into a lot of detail because I just don't know. Ulf might, and we'll have a chance to talk to him about it later. Sometimes the lag is pretty striking. It's long, and not just a few seconds or a minute or two, but hours.
To follow up on that question, and just for some clarity, they're saying, for example, is the media crafting human thought and opinion?
Is the media crafting human thought and opinion? Yes. That's in the best of worlds, that's information. In the worst of worlds, which we're closer to than we like, it's propaganda. It absolutely shapes our consciousness in a massive way.
So can I jump in, Lauren, for a second?
Yeah, please, John.
Roger, just always good to talk to you. It's always good to see you. You started out by talking about the eggs and saying they're electrodiagrams.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, we can see there seem to be certain things that seem to correlate well with the GCP data. Do you see it still as an electrodiagram?
Well, that was my son was the programmer, master programmer, put together the original software. And he's the one who said, what you're doing is making an EEG for the planet, which is usually called Gaia. Why not an electrodiagram? But your question is about what's an event, what's important to us, I think. And we've looked at a really large variety of different kinds of things. Some are tragedies, some are celebrations, some are really big events, and some are smaller. We did this in large part because we wanted to find out what matters. And we have found a great deal about what matters, what makes a difference in the generation of deviations in the data.
So it seems that the work that Ulf has been doing is related to actually using GCP data for forecasting and predicting market modeling. Do you see that possible in other areas as well? Where would you like to see similar sorts of applications?
Oh, wow. I'm an idealist. I mean, not in the philosophical sense, but a kind of, I guess sometimes people say Pollyanna, right? But I would like us to improve. I would like the human, species to get its act together because we have very important work to do. We're not doing it. So anything, the GCP data or GCP events, or I can do to further and foster this kind of recognition of how powerful we are, especially if we work together. That's what I would like to see as a kind of goal for this kind of research, not just the GCP, but for all of us to pay attention to how important consciousness is in who we are in the amas, and how we should put ourselves together going forward. We have so much tragedy that could be avoided, and so much possibility. Like Buckminster Fuller once said, basically, he said, we could, if we organize ourselves, feed everybody, make everybody comfortable on the planet now. He was talking when we were about 7 million souls. He said, with twice as many people, if we organize ourselves in a sense, in a manner that promotes well-being, this planet could be a paradise. So that's what I think is most important for us to work on.
And that attitude is really what I think lies underneath the entire Global Consciousness Project, Roger. And I really appreciate you sharing that with us today. Your vision, it's very, very inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you, John.